Have you ever wondered if a profound shift could happen in just 10 minutes? What if the obstacle to your success isn't lack of resources or opportunity, but simply your current perspective? Imagine discovering you've possessed an untapped wellspring of potential since birth, a limitless resource you've never even considered. I used to think I had it all figured out. Comfortable, not rich, but not struggling. My firefighter's salary in Toronto covered the basics. Food on the table, a roof over my head. For years, that felt like the whole story. But beneath the surface, a nagging unease simmered. Life was a monotonous loop. Wake up, work, pay bills, sleep, repeat. You probably know the feeling. That quiet whisper hinting at something more. A potential perpetually silenced. To outsiders, my life seemed stable. The reality: I was miserable, unhealthy, and drowning in debt. My $4,000 annual income barely covered my $6,000 expenses. I struggled to fill my gas tank. Worse, I didn't even realize how bad it was. I thought this was just life. Then, a game changer. Someone said, if you're not heading where you want to go, you're inevitably heading the opposite way. It hit me like a ton of bricks. My stability wasn't security, it was stagnation. And stagnation, my friend, is a slow slide downhill. Nothing stays the same forever. You either grow or you decline. Most people plateau once they hit a certain comfort level, like living in a house with cracks in the walls and thinking, it's not that bad. The problem is those cracks widen, the structure weakens, and one day the whole thing collapses. That happens when we stop challenging ourselves, leaving ourselves vulnerable not to outside forces, but to our own refusal to aim higher. I faced a harsh truth. My life was inefficient, and yours might be too. How many opportunities have you missed for fear of taking a risk? How many times have you settled to avoid the discomfort of change? Discomfort, I learned, is the price of growth. Without it, you won't unlock your potential or discover your true capabilities. My transformation started when I accepted I didn't need all the answers to escape that rut. I just needed to start. Leaving your comfort zone isn't about a sudden upheaval, but taking small, growth-inducing steps. For me, it began with a recommended book. Each page a wrecking ball shattering self-imposed mental barriers. Looking back, the biggest danger isn't failure. It's settling for a life far below your potential. It's waking up each day, feeling safe in your routine while slowly drifting away from your true capabilities. Are you truly living or just coasting while time slips away? Because if you're not moving towards your dreams, you're moving away from them. And the choice is yours. Building a house without a blueprint results in crooked walls, misaligned doors, and a roof that blows off in the first strong wind. That's how most people build their lives, without a defined plan, a clear vision. They wake up, do the same thing, and somehow expect a different outcome. But the mind doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. I understood this when, for the first time, I wrote down what I wanted to achieve. On a simple index card, I wrote that by January 1st, 1970, I would have $25,000. I had no clue how it would happen, no strategies, no influential connections, and honestly, little faith in myself. But I wrote it down anyway. I carried that card, reading those words daily. At first, it felt like a complete lie. A voice inside scoffed, "Who do you think you are?" But something remarkable happened. Gradually, I wasn't just reading the words, I was starting to believe them. And when you truly believe something, your behavior changes. You act differently, notice opportunities you missed before, make seemingly small decisions that open huge doors. It wasn't the money itself that transformed me, but the process of holding that vivid mental image, shaping my reality. My mind was a projector, and that goal was the film I watched daily. At first, the screen was blank. Then, the image gained color, detail, life. Before I knew it, that phrase on a card manifested in my life. Most people wait for all the answers before taking the first step, but you don't need to know how it will happen. Just define clearly what you want and keep that vision alive. This is more powerful than any perfect plan, because a strong mental image attracts ideas, resources, and people you never imagined. Your brain works with images. Without a picture of what you want, it replays the image of your current life, meaning more of the same. Projecting a new scene makes your mind consciously and unconsciously seek ways to make it real. Your entire system works silently to align your actions with your vision. A year after writing that card, my income had increased far beyond what I thought possible. It wasn't coincidence or luck. It happened because I planted a specific image in my mind and nourished it daily with focus and belief. If you lack clarity about what you want, that's your first step. Choose something that truly excites you. Write it, visualize it, feel it, and don't abandon that image even if it seems impossible, because once you keep the vision alive, the path begins to form beneath your feet, even if you can't see it yet. For a long time, I saw money as distant, a privilege for a select few. It was like an unforgiving judge deciding who deserved it, and I included myself among the undeserving. This limited not only my bank account, but every decision I made. Then I grasped something that revolutionized my relationship with prosperity. Money isn't my master, it's my servant. Let that sink in. Money has no will of its own. It doesn't think or feel. It's a neutral tool that responds to how you treat it. If you see it as scarce and hard to obtain, that's how it will behave in your life. But if you see it as an ally, a resource to expand your impact, it flows more naturally. I learned to imagine money as a messenger I could send to accomplish tasks where I can't be physically present. Without money, my ability to serve the world is limited to my time and presence. With it, I can do so much more. Help people far away, invest in causes I believe in, create businesses that generate opportunities for others. The question wasn't, how much money do I have, but what can I do with the money I attract? Most people reverse this. They see themselves as servants, working tirelessly for money as if it were a demanding boss. They chase it, and when they get it, they spend it quickly, fearing it will disappear. And ironically, it does. This is the scarcity mindset, creating a never-ending cycle of anxiety and frustration. Change happens when you assume the role of master. This isn't about arrogance, but awareness. You give the orders. You define the purpose of money in your life. It doesn't dictate how you live. You decide how it supports your vision. I started seeing money as an extension of my creativity, not a burden or threat. Even when earning more than ever, I felt tension thinking about bills. It wasn't a lack of income, but a lack of a prosperous mindset. Incoming money felt fragile, something to cling to tightly, until I changed its meaning. From something fearful, to be protected, to something that could be multiplied and directed to serve my purpose. When that vision solidified, decisions became easier. Investing in knowledge, projects, and people stopped being spending and became planting seeds for the future. And curiously, when I stopped seeing money as something slipping through my fingers, it started sticking around, not by magic, but because my actions reflected this new awareness. Money is neither good nor bad. It amplifies what you already are. Generosity, it amplifies that. Insecurity, it amplifies your fears. Mastering this relationship is crucial. It's not about chasing money. It's about creating a life so aligned with your desires that money naturally supports your journey. I see intelligent, talented people with immense potential living far below their capabilities. Why? Because they confuse knowing with doing. Knowledge is essential, but it doesn't change anything on its own. You can spend years studying finance, reading about investments, attending motivational seminars, and still have an empty bank account and a stagnant life. The difference lies in application, consistent and deliberate action. I learned this the hard way. Reading Think and Grow Rich didn't magically multiply my bank balance. It opened my eyes, but nothing happened until I started putting it into practice daily, even without fully understanding it at first. I didn't wait to know enough to act, because that day never comes. There will always be something you don't know, always an excuse to postpone. This waiting for the perfect moment prevents most people from moving forward. It's like joining a gym, spending hours reading about exercises, studying which muscles each movement works but never lifting a weight. Unused knowledge becomes dead weight in your mind. It takes up space, creates the illusion of progress, but yields no results. Your body changes only when you commit to the practice. Life works the same way. I remember knowing exactly what to do to increase my income, prospect more clients, improve my pitch, expand my services. But for weeks, I just revised plans, tweaked details, trying to make everything perfect before acting. The result? Nothing. Only when I started acting, despite fear and insecurity, did doors begin to open. And here's the interesting part. Much of what I thought I needed to learn more about, I learned by doing. People mistakenly believe they need motivation to act. But action generates motivation. Movement creates energy, clarity, and confidence. When you stand still overthinking, you feed doubt and insecurity. It's like trying to steer a car with the engine off. You can turn the wheel all you want, but you won't go anywhere. I've seen entrepreneurs fail not from lack of knowledge, but from lack of execution. And I've seen people with no degrees, no resources, build fortunes simply because they decided to act before having all the answers. That's the difference. It's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. Once I understood this, my focus shifted. I started asking myself daily, what will I apply today from what I already know? I realized I had far more tools than I imagined. I didn't need to learn something new to take the next step. I just needed to take the step. Right now, you may already have enough information to transform your life completely. The question is, are you using what you know, or just accumulating knowledge, waiting for the ideal moment? Because if you don't turn knowing into doing, what you know is useless. One thing dramatically separates high achievers from those stuck repeating the same results: perseverance. I've seen incredible talent fail because they gave up too soon, and I've seen ordinary people achieve extraordinary results simply because they refused to quit. Perseverance is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. Like at the gym, it might hurt at first, feel too heavy, but if you keep going, strength emerges. My journey wasn't a string of victories. Before consistent results, I failed countless times. Businesses that didn't work, proposals rejected, goals that seemed absurd and impossible. But every time I considered quitting, I remembered that every great achievement I admired had a history of resilience behind it. Think Thomas Edison, failing over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb, or Henry Ford, bankrupt twice before revolutionizing the auto industry. I remember an 11-year-old boy at one of my seminars, diagnosed with a learning disability. He believed he could never compete with his peers. I told him that if he truly believed in something and worked towards it daily, he could achieve any goal. 10 years later, I received a letter from him. He had graduated at the top of his university class. That didn't happen because someone chose him, or because life was easier. It happened because even on hard days, he remained committed to his goal. Perseverance isn't about having motivation all the time. It's about staying the course when motivation fades. When everything seems against you, when circumstances scream for you to give up, that's when you build the strength that will sustain success. Perseverance creates an invisible accumulation of progress. You often don't see immediate results, but something's happening beneath the surface. Like planting a seed, for weeks you see nothing above ground, but below roots are forming, strengthening to support future growth. That's how I set my most important goals, not worrying about the immediate how, but committing to daily action. I knew that if I took one step every day, however small eventually, the result would have to appear. It's a matter of law, not mystical but practical. Continuous focused effort inevitably bears fruit. So when people ask me the secret to inner and outer wealth, I say, set a goal that truly moves you, commit to it, and refuse to give up. Because in the end, it's not the smartest or most talented who win. It's the one who simply keeps going when others stop. One of the most valuable skills is making quick, decisive decisions. Indecision is a thief of energy and opportunity. When you hesitate, the world doesn't wait for you to decide. Others grab the opportunities that could have been yours. It's not the perfect decision that changes life, but the courage to decide and commit to the chosen path. I've lost valuable opportunities by hesitating. I remember a promising business opportunity. I spent weeks thinking, seeking opinions, trying to predict every risk and detail. By the time I decided, someone else had taken it and was reaping impressive results that could have been mine. A harsh but necessary lesson. Successful people I admire made decisions based on clarity of purpose, not the total absence of risk. And when they decided, they acted with conviction, without looking back. This isn't about reckless impulsivity, but understanding that perfect decisions don't exist. There will always be uncertainty, but inaction keeps you exactly where you are. Harvard Business Review research shows that leaders who make faster decisions tend to achieve better long-term results, even if they need to adjust course later. Movement generates new information, connections, and opportunities. It's like sailing a boat. You can adjust your direction as you go, but you don't leave the harbor without lifting the anchor. I applied this practically. When an idea aligns with my goals, I ask, does this move me closer or further from my objective? If closer, I decide immediately and take the first step. A call, an email, scheduling a meeting. The size of the step doesn't matter. Movement is key. This shift created a domino effect. Faster decisions attracted more opportunities. People saw me as someone who acted, not just talked. My self-confidence grew, because even when a decision didn't yield the expected success, I was always better off than if I'd remained inactive. You never have all the answers before making a decision. Waiting means missing irretrievable opportunities. Decide based on current knowledge, adjust course during the process, and keep your eye on the final goal. Life doesn't reward excessive deliberation, it rewards action. Perseverance isn't just continuing despite setbacks, it's staying firm during stagnation, the absence of apparent progress, and the world's apparent indifference. Progress with quick results is easy. The true test is when the fruits take time to ripen, which almost always they do. I've experienced periods of deep uncertainty, navigating in the dark. I poured my heart and soul into it, working tirelessly, constantly upgrading my skills. Yet, progress felt glacial, a frustrating crawl. The urge to quit felt overwhelming. Self-doubt whispered insidious lies. This isn't for me, you're wasting your time. But I realized that's precisely where most people bail, the very point that separates the wheat from the chaff. Perseverance isn't stubbornness, it's the conscious decision to recalibrate, to find a new path to the summit, even if it means backtracking or taking a breather. Think of climbing a mountain. You might need to rest, adjust your route, maybe even retrace your steps, but you never lose sight of the peak. I learned that every attempt, even the perceived failures, are invaluable lessons, building blocks for future successes. One project, for example, took years to bear fruit. I initially thought dedicated effort would yield results in months. Instead, it was a slow, steady climb of small victories, corrections, setbacks, and renewed attempts. Had I quit after 2 years, I'd have carried the false belief that it was impossible, when in fact I was just steps from a breakthrough. It's astounding how, with enough persistence, the universe seems to conspire in your favor. Essential people appear, resources materialize, previously inaccessible opportunities suddenly become viable. But this isn't luck. It's the culmination of months or years of quiet, often unseen work, laying the groundwork for something extraordinary. Studies in psychology confirm that success is far more correlated with grit than raw talent. Angela Duckworth's famous research on grit shows that persistent individuals overcome obstacles not because they're smarter, but because they refuse to give up. And the more you cultivate this resilience, the more ingrained it becomes. Persisting means choosing the long game in a world obsessed with instant gratification. It means understanding that lasting results require time and consistency. It means tolerating temporary frustration for a much greater reward down the line. And when you finally reach your goal, you realize it wasn't just the outcome that was rewarding, but the personal growth you experienced along the way. No matter how ambitious, distant, or seemingly impossible your goal, if you dedicate yourself to it and refuse to surrender, sooner or later, you will achieve it. And it won't just be an external achievement. You'll discover you've become stronger, more capable, and far more confident to tackle anything else you set your mind to. Now, to continue this journey and take another step in your intellectual evolution, watch the next video. We'll delve deeper into these concepts and work towards making you just a little bit better than you are now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.